See. So the thing I want to do here is I want to only update most of these variables when I have to. So let's see. I'm gonna there. I don't think I'll actually need all of these parameters, but in fact, I don't even think I'll need 4. Maybe I'll need like 3. But it's nice to have them. Now, I think I'm going to use ability X and Y uh, in a few different ability X position and ability Y position in a particular way. Like a kind of a this is where the ability took place kind of thing. So that the character will automatically snap to that. So a reason why I have separated this from this is because I feel like maybe this should be more used for error correction, where uh, the end user's game and the server start to disagree with what is valid. Like I think uh for non-dedicated servers, that is like a game that you host right then and there, I don't think I'm going to do a whole lot of error correction. Uh, because error correction in that case is not very important. Like if the end user uh, if the end user is playing on a game with someone else that's not a dedicated host, I feel like they have to be friendly enough that they're going to trust each other, and that uh, if you really uh, like if you are seen as going a little too fast for uh, for the game to validate, that it's probably fine and we don't need to do too much about it. But for like servers that you connect to, it's a little bit more of a deal of creating a fair environment, especially because you don't know all the people who are going to connect to a dedicated server, and thus uh, giving leniency is, I mean, it's still gonna have some leniency because like I'm not gonna disconnect someone uh, for a small error that could theoretically arise with an unmodified game and no uh, runtime modification to the variables other than by the game itself, which is unmodified in theory. But changes that changes to the execution of the game that are definitely cheated, uh, do deserve uh, to be reverted. Now, it's probably going to, I'm probably going to do this in like a few stages if I ever get to the point of dedicated server software. Uh, so I guess technically three. Stage zero would be no correction needed. They're sending only valid game information. Maybe level is the correct term I want to use here. Uh, but hmm, actually, I might want that back. I might want to do something with the hitbox. Right, but stage one would be like uh course correction. The variables are incorrect, but in theory, this could be down to a number of things that are not the end user's fault. So just like tell them that they that their game information was incorrect and this is the correct set. So it gets them back up to gets them back on track. But then I thought, well, okay, that's neat and nice for those who aren't cheating a game, but for those who are clearly going much faster than they should be able to go, unreasonably, I feel like I would want to go ahead and do something a little bit more sneaky. I would just tell them that they're right. Now, this may sound crazy, and indeed, but here's the thing. You tell them that they're right, but you don't acknowledge it server side. Whatever data they send you, you do not try to correct them on, but you also don't process it the same way. Like you go ahead and take their controller inputs, which I believe somewhere around here is uh, it's set. Wait, what am I doing here? Properties. Oh, wait, is it? I thought it was. Oh yeah, buttons are sent, so you could see what they're pressing. Although I need to. Oh no, I'm right here. Okay, so you could tell what they're pressing, and you could calculate out what a normal game would have done, right? Like an insane hallucinating player playing a normal game of MBI would theoretically get to the conclusion of, despite the fact that they're not insane hallucinating players who are believing that they've made further progress than they have. They're players on a cheated version of the game that would be a disadvantage because the server, whilst telling them that everything's fine, won't acknowledge it in terms of like searching objects. When they try to search an object, nothing comes back. When they, like, a bunch of things, like, it could be like, okay, acknowledge that they're trying to search an object by just telling them that nothing is out of the ordinary with the object, even if something is. Like, give them the experience that they won, but make it so that they really can't play the game. So that way, no one else feels cheated, except maybe uh when the possible moment happens when they run into the murderer because their character calculated by the server just walked right into the same room and didn't move out of the way, and then they die, and then the game ends there. Maybe you could go ahead and kind of slowly drop them off so that they don't even realize that the server disconnected. Or just emulate a game that they're in. Tell them nothing happened. And then everyone else just plays a different game. Alright. Let's see. What I want to do today is get character 2, their ability. You know what? Let's see. Search replace. Thank goodness it didn't calculate yet. Alright. Okay. So visible areas off. Character 2. That went into invisible areas. Base layer. Character 2. Alright, let's see. We only want him for the reference. Bludge. Still remember when characters did not have abilities. That was a while ago. So I think I actually need to go ahead and abilities host. Okay, at least I have a type in there so I can modify what the type is. And let's see. Let's see. Where's hitbox? Hitbox. I should probably get a better texture for this so I can see what I'm doing. You know what? I will make a better texture for it. So, I'm thinking nice minty green. Looks. Yeah, I'll roll with that. But to make it slightly easier ish to see, I am going to checkerboard this. You know what? I'm sure that there's a slightly easier way to do this. Yeah, I was wrong. That makes it harder to see. But that is okay. Because I can do something like this. Let's see. That is easier to see. Abilities host. I think I'm gonna have to recreate that hitbox uh on all clients so they can be slowed down. Because whilst the first character's ability is pretty simple, it stuns murderers. Second one is a slightly more complicated one. It slows people and murderers alike down. Did I just insinuate that murderers aren't people? Well, argue on the philosophical ramblings, but I'm almost half certain that this might not be considered a human being. So let's see. 8,000. I wanna. No, wait, I should do this one first. 192. And that goes in mutual. There's two things I have to make. Oh, hold on. How did I do that in the past? Okay. Oh, I just created both of them at the same time. Uh, I am thankful that I am changing away from this jank code. First, this is just a bad idea. Second, this I have a specific area where I send and receive values. And I think that's a lot better. And I also like the fact that I have controller managed controller management in the player. Where is it? In here. I like that because that means I can go ahead and choose what uh what thing does what. So I think I want to create this. Okay, that, yeah, but I think I want to create that on the spot. Hmm. All right. So also for tests, I'm gonna hmm. Well, I will do something like this. I'm gonna move these around once I'm ready. All right. I think right here is where I want to do that thing. But I also also want to change a variable. Should also be noted that needs that. This needs to be set to 0, and I'm just going to create the sludge right there. Uh, right, I also have to calculate out 176. Mm. Well, I can do that now. There we go. That way, if we reach right here before this processes, we still have it. So I may want to just cut to the chase with that one. You know, I'll leave it as is, but I'm going to take this and put it here. Actually, that means I can just hold on. I can just get rid of that because it will be taken care of. All right, I forgot that what that one was. I'm not entirely sure how I feel with this being in here rather than in abilities host. But I suppose it will be fine since abilities host will always run with abilities mutual, whereas abilities mutual might not run with abilities host. I'm gonna put that right there. Then I will be set to have to go through this again. This is not going to be worth it. Oh wait, I can just... Where's hitbox? Hitbox, hitbox. Here we are. For each object, hitbox. If characters is in collision with, not sludge, but hitbox, then hitbox I'm gonna say type is the most important part of this. Type. I'm gonna do nothing for number 1 because that doesn't even affect players. Type is number 2, and if you are not the person responsible for making that hitbox, now I've introduced this amazing character, which to date has the only ability that can fail. That's gonna be fun to program. Uh, in a Twitter post I made a while ago, I actually showed this ability at use. That's obviously before I decided to rewrite abilities. And now I have to deal with this nightmare. But I liked that because the idea of lighting up a room, because typically the only room that was lit in Murder Rose before was the foyer. And the murderer would never go into the foyer. I imagine this is because the room was lit up. So being able to uh, extend the ability or the property of rooms being, why did I choose the word extend? Being able to control what rooms are lit up outside of like the foyer, because that's going to be lit up no matter what. Uh, it gives for the ability to it gives for the yeah, it gives for the ability to protect against the murderer in some regards. Like, I feel like a spin is a great tool for uh, evading a murderer that's on you, but lighting up a room is a great tool for uh, preventing the murderer from chasing you. And the reason why it can fail is because if the murderer is in the room, the ability will simply fail because I will have programmed it to, and I actually, before rewriting abilities, have done so. Because the idea of the murderer being in a lit room, a room that lit up, I guess it's possible. It's not like logically you could trap someone who is not going into lit rooms into a lit room if they went into the room and you lit it. But I feel like it would be better to maybe give them an ominous uh light prevention uh aura that when they're in a room it just cannot be lit. Now they can't go into a lit room because it's, I don't know. But I feel like that would be a neat utility to have. All right, what am I doing here? Right, this should all work, but I still have to murder a movement. And wait, make sure, yeah. All right, let's see. I don't think the murderers actually have any animations. Actually, I know that there's one animation, but it should not be affected by the movement factor. And that is a stun animation. Let's see. So that would then bring on all objects, variables, value of a variable is greater than or equal to 1. And just to be extra, uh, I don't know what word I was going to choose next. Actually, let's multiply that. It's either 1 or 0.5. Realized that I should have be all fine there. And now I want to change the name of it. All right. Vector movement gets replaced with there we go. Hopefully that's all I need. Actually, I should probably test this then. First test. Will it work? Also, I'm going to double check with the left bracket, right bracket. Okay. Should probably remember that last time. Not quite. And also, I don't regain control. So hmm. And yet this didn't work. I mean, I can see the result right here, but I'm going to double check. Okay, so char2.x minus 192. That might be it. That solves that one, but I still need to fix this, which is just something I forgot to set in the first place. All right, so right here, we stretch that. Let's see, 16, 32, 48. So plus 48 if I remember my grid measurements. typically the grid measurement is 32, but I like the finer precision of 16 sometimes. Not what I need. What I need is right here. Plus 48. And minus 48. Actually, I minus 48 plus 48. But now I gotta get the wait, hold on, are these already correct? 176, 2024. By golly, it might be right. Alright, I still haven't fixed that issue with not being able to move, but let's see. Okay, so the thing spawned over here, which is incorrect. Don't even know why, but at least this is spawning in the correct position. Alright, so let's see. Abilities host. I'm gonna double check. When should this be over? So 0.075 times 7 frames of animation. Actually, I'm going to count 6 because this is just the same as this. So 45. 0.05 under half a second. So I can just chart 2, chart 2, chart 2, character 2, caricature 2, chart 2. I'm gonna have to modify that because that is not what I. Alright, so hitbox. How long should the thing? Do I have any of my old compiles? Give me a minute. And I only have one left on the clock, so I'll pause. All right, I have two drives that I think uh, one of them is used for something. So give me just a second. Hmm. All right, all right. So I think I got something here. I don't have the original 1.0. That is lost to time. But I do have 1.4. All right, all right. All right, let's see. First, I just seeing this again is oh wait, I have a time limit. Well, that's not important for what I'm about to do. One, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, about 12 seconds. All right then. I can put those to the side. Plug my controller back in. Whoop, whoop. And 12 seconds. I'm gonna set this to 2. R2 equal to 1 is equal to or greater than 2. And if this is 12.45. It's a good thing I'm updating this, because if you notice, I used my ability and then it just stayed there on the client that wasn't that it that the that wasn't the person who used the ability, which is not good. Actually, I could just avoid that, and I mean, the move lock is no longer true, and ability.use is then set to 0 here. Actually, there's no use for that anymore, since, oh, hold on. I'm also going to move this outside of that to its own thing. Hmm. What I want to do here is give it a delete state. Where it dissipates over time. So Starts animation. I know the timer is currently paused. Just kind of want to continue anyways. So that I know I have a reference for what time it is when I upload this later. Alright. You minus a certain amount. Let's see, where's the thing? Here's the thing. That way it should delete in about a second. I don't think it actually can go lower than 0. I think it will just snap to 0. Clamped between 0 and 255. But I'd like to include this anyways. Right, this might work. Also, just because I'm not going to end until that runs out, at least. I'm going to test this, see if it works. And probably regardless, I'm going to end the stream after that. Maybe I'll fix it if it's not functioning properly. I was worried for a second. I thought I couldn't move. Oh, and I also introduced a feature to lag out the game. I was trying to test whether or not I had fixed the issue with zooming into walls. And it seems like I have. In any case. Something seems a little wrong. Okay, I'm going to fix this. Abilities mutual. That's why. I get it. Let's see. Will it work? Yes. Can I run? I can. Question is, can someone else run whilst they're in the vicinity of that? Also, I'm just gonna wait, see if it does what I want it to do, which is to vanish. Seems like it's not doing a whole lot of vanishing. Maybe I haven't given it enough time. So just to go overboard, I will count to 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Why isn't it working? 10, 11. It's not working. I wonder why, though. Debugger. Alright, let's see. Is there a spin sludge? State is 0. Or frame count attach. Okay, that's neat. Where, ooh, why is it not dying? Why isn't it working? Alright. Nine, 10, 11, 12. These things are still around. Alright, let's see. Abilities. Mutual, abilities host. Mutual, probably. That might be why. So I do not know why that would be working in the first place. Maybe that. Maybe it's working because of default properties? To some extent, no? don't know. Quite honestly confused. Ten, 11. Okay, so I have a few questions. Oh, these are buttons. Never mind. It might have something to do with my terrible ability to write code that's good like the first time around. I write code seemingly fast enough to make mistakes, but slow enough to, well, be slow. Just in that sweet spot. Ooh, the lava is moving around. What caused that? Alright. Perfect. Like it's nothing. Hmm. Maybe the effect is just not noticeable. I also have to change that offset. Okay. first. Why is that not working? It really seems like that should just be working. Okay. Order movement. I technically they shouldn't just get stuck because of the code I've written here. But it seems like they're not even slowing down. The stream is a little bit longer than I passed. Which I suppose is a bit unusual. Okay, but what about hitbox? Type 2 for each hitbox. This might be why. Alright, hopefully it works. Hopefully. Well, not the intended behavior. Also, I should fix this a little bit. Of the murderer not moving. It is showing that some of my code is working to what I saw it shows that the predicted behavior was happening, even though I need to tweak the behavior. Alright, but why am I being slowed down? I'm the person who threw it down. So I think attach is the correct one to use. It is. Or at least, hold on. Double check. It is. So now, with that being said, I should now be able to move through it freely. Now, I didn't move through it so freely before, which means that it would work on other players. The way it's intended. I grant immunity to the player who placed it down, but no one else. I feel like this adds a little bit of strategy. Where, oh, hold on, let me double check that that's actually being thrown down on the invisible layer, and we're only seeing it because I decided to make that visible. Yep. Though I don't think it's on the right layer, it doesn't matter. Just as long as I can't see it in the final game. So I feel like that creates a little bit of strategy where the other players need to get a little closer to safety first, and the last player would throw a sludge bomb down and run out because it takes a murderer a longer time. I mean, here it takes the murderer technically forever to get through sludge if it weren't for the fact that the sludge dissipates after 12 seconds. Uh, so that way, yeah, I might add a little bit of a check to make sure that, or to make any uh, anyone playing as Mulk able to run through the sludge at normal speed, but I don't know. I feel like that might be a slight too much misbalance in favor of the players. Whereas with only the player who threw it down, it creates enough urgency for everyone else to be ahead of that player if they're all in a group, which is bad strategy, but you know, I hear it's bad strategy uh because the murderer will chase after you, whoever is closest, at least at the time of seeing at least one of you. So, with that in mind, throwing down some sludge after yourself, in theory, after anyone who's with you also goes, is a good thing. But right. I was explaining why it's a bad idea for everyone to be in the same room. It's because the murderer only needs to catch one person to end the game. It's group survival or complete loss. I may choose to add a challenge string modifier, which would be less of a challenge. That will allow you to complete the game with anywhere between every single player, which is the default, to just one player, the majority, a super majority, which is 2/3 rather than just being half plus one. At least half, or really just any other calculation I can perform at the moment. Maybe I'll just allow them to specify how many people need to be there, and then clamp it to uh, the amount of people playing the game, so that way we don't get a situation where you lose immediately because there's only 4 people playing a game and 8 players are required. Not not the case at the moment. So splitting up in this game is actually a good idea for like multiple reasons. First, you can search a lot more area at once. Uh, but second is that murderers will have only one choice of target. And with the murderer improvements that I'm making, uh, it's harder to get out of the sight of a murderer. If you manage to outrun a murderer, which is impossible, except if the murderer's run speed was exactly the same as our walk speed, If that's the case, then they'll at least continue going into the last place that they saw you. Now, if I was a real smart cookie, I would absolutely throw in some AI learning stuff into here, but I have absolutely no idea how to do that. That is just unapproachable for me as a concept, at least for a while. Though if I ever do learn, I am not telling a single person about it until I release the update, and just letting them find out that the murder just suddenly gets harder and harder every time you play. And then also tell everyone that there is a way to shut it off. I wouldn't be that mean. I would at least give the players the ability to turn off uh the AI learning. Then again, I also have to go ahead and program it to avoid unusual behavior. I don't know, maybe when it comes into contact with a human and has to learn that way, it will be more geared at catching that human rather than catching all humans. I don't know. All right. Well, I have went quite a bit over my stream time. Uh, Thank you for joining in if you did, which I don't think anyone did. Uh, this will be available on Twitch for a couple of days, uh, and on YouTube from uh, May 15th onward. I know that some of my VODs are going to expire soon, but they'll be on YouTube. Uh, Thank you for watching on YouTube if you decided to do that for some reason. This is goodbye. So, auf Wiedersehen.